Hi, I'm John from Just Whisky, and that was my little girl kitten, Hazel to be formal. I'm John from Just Whisky. If you like today's show, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And thanks to all the Patreons that I do have who help support this channel. Much appreciated. And as a Patreon, you have access to exclusive Patreon reviews, which I do once or twice a month. And we're getting close to 40 of those exclusive Patreon reviews. And remember, folks, it's just whiskey. Today, we're going to be talking about the brand new, much anticipated Laphroaig Cairdeas 10-year-old. Celebrating 30 years of Cairdeas. And Cairdeas means friendship. And Laphroaig 30 years ago came out with the first one, and I believe the first one had the 10-year age statement. I don't think any of the other ones did until now, celebrating 30 years. They've come full circle with a 10-year age stated. And this new Laphroaig Cairdeas is celebrating their triple wood and their PX, and I'm going to get into a deep dive on that as we go along. But first, I want to focus on what we have in front of us. As per usual with Laphroaig, no mention of chill filtering or coloring. My opinion, there's probably some coloring, maybe some chill filtering. This one comes in at ABV of 52.4% ABV. It is not a cask strength release. Most Cairdeas, not all, because there have been some cask strength Cairdeas, but most Cairdeas, what they do is that 52.4, that 2.4 means 2024. Okay, so last year's Cairdeas, which I happen to have a backup bottle right here, was 52.3. So that was for 2023, and now we're into 2024. And I am going to be talking about which one I prefer out of all these when we get to the very end. So there on the front label, it says, "Tastes like fruit, ginger, and peat." I'm always challenged to find that ginger note. I love ginger. I love candied ginger, pickled ginger. But for it to be a standout note for me is somewhat challenging unless someone says it. Then I'm like, okay, I get it. So we're going to get there as well. So in their words, the back of the bottle, celebrating 30 years of Friends of Laphroaig. Cairdeas is our annual expression created just for friends. It's 30 years since we founded Friends of Laphroaig. To celebrate, we've created an ode to two well-loved releases, Triple Wood and PX. This 10-year, so the new 10-year, is aged in ex-bourbon and quarter casks before being finished in PX casks, adding fruity sweetness to the peat smoke that our friends know and love. And they say it's rich, deep, indulgent with intense sweet peat, smoke, dried fruits, and crystallized ginger notes. All right. So over here, what's interesting is the Cairdeas triple wood from a few years ago. That was matured in ex-bourbon, quarter casks, and Oloroso sherry casks. Okay, that made up the triple wood. So there's no mention on the new one that there's any Oloroso in here. There could be, but they're not mentioning it. And the PX cask, that one was cask strength, which came out just a few short years ago. They're saying this one was triple matured with a final maturation in PX casks. Okay, so to me, it doesn't seem, the way they're wording everything, that it's exactly everything that was in those that's in here. I think they're kind of paying homage to it. That's kind of my take on it. That's really the specs on it. Let's get into the review. And at the end, I will tell you which is my preferred, and we'll get a nice score off of this. And my little girl Hazy is laying right down here by my side, behaving herself. What a good girl. Yes, you are. All right. So on the nose, medicinal, peat, smoke. But the peat smoke is more subdued than a Laphroaig 10 cast strength. So medicinal, peat smoke, although it's a bit subdued. Berry fruits. So there are some fruits in there. There's a chalkiness to it, and there's a sweetness on the nose as well. And also, too, a bit of flint, but not sulfur by any means. Kind of like if you took two rocks and smashed two rocks together, and you get that spark. That spark, that's that Boston accent. You smash two rocks together as a kid, and you get that flinty note. I get a little bit of that. So some might call it minerality, flinty, two rocks smashing into each other. It's a nice nose. I think the PX has kind of rounded off that roughness that you would get on a more robustness that you'd get on a cast strength 10-year-old. All right, on the palate. Silky, sweet, smoky, jalapeno. There's a lot of oak spice in here too. Bit of mint and probably a bit of ginger. So there's definitely some oak spice bite to it, which could equate to ginger for sure. A bit tongue numbing. Again, that oak spice is prominent. The finish, a lingering dryness, mouth numbing, oak spice. Probably a little bit of cigar at the end, very end, trailing off. Cigar ash, cigar, maybe cigarette, but mostly cigar ash, cigar juice. You smoked a cigar down to a little too further down the nub than you probably should have. It's got a bit of that cigar juice in there. Yeah, it's definitely a Laphroaig. One more sip. We bring out Hazy for a guest appearance here. She gets a little startled when the music first kind of cranks out in the beginning of the intro. But yeah, here she is, my little girl. All right. So score-wise in this, I'm enjoying it. It's more complex than I thought it would be, but that makes sense if they're combining the elements of the triple wood and the PX Cairdeas. The PX Cairdeas, I usually like a PX finish, and I am enjoying this Laphroaig Cairdeas, but the PX on this Laphroaig Cairdeas, I get a little bit of that cough syrup. So Laphroaig already has the medicinal thing, but it's not quite that. It's got that syrupy cough syrup, which I'm not too crazy about. So yeah, score-wise, the new 10-year-old Cairdeas 2024 is a solid 8 out of 10. I reviewed and scored and have raved and talked about last year's Laphroaig Cairdeas, which I gave it at the time 88 or 89. So that would probably equate closer to a 9. So if the new 2024 is an 8, in my opinion, then I definitely enjoy last year's is probably closer to a 9. Out of all the Cairdeases that I've tried so far, I haven't had them all, hands down, last year's is my favorite. And I have backup bottles, and I'm seeing it's still widely available in massive quantities, being even discounted a little bit. Not a lot, but I think the original price on last year's was about $90 to $100, and I'm seeing it now it's available in the $83 to $87 range. Okay, the new one we didn't talk about price. The 2024 10-year-old Cairdeas is about $100, $100 to $110. I don't know how much they made in comparison. So ranking wise, just kind of going by memory a little bit, I would probably, the best definitely is last year's White Port and Madeira finished. Really enjoyed that. My second favorite would probably be the new one. And my third favorite would probably be the Triple Wood. And then my last favorite would probably be the PX Cairdeas. They're all good. But connective wise, yeah, this is damn good. This new one is damn good. I think it takes the best of both worlds of these and adds even a little bit more complexity. Yeah. And I think given time in the bottle, I think this is going to even open up more and offer more. But I don't want to ramble on too much longer. Hope you enjoyed today's review with my special guest, Hazel. And please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. Remember, folks, it's just whiskey. And hats off to you all. And enjoy your summer, folks.